Welcome to the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing, founder of the Reiki Business Collective and creator of the Build Your Reiki Business program, sending blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business. Greetings, welcome, and thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. It's Christian Stone, so honored and excited to welcome you as I am in every episode, so thank you so much for tuning in. In this episode, we're talking about what actually matters when starting your Reiki business. So what actually really matters? When we think of starting a Reiki business, so often we think about things like the logo, the branding, the colors, the website, things like our business cards, our table, and all of the things. But all too often, we think about the things that don't actually matter quite as much as we think they do when we are first starting out. And all too often, we put the focus on the things rather than the internal things that matter. So too often we put the focus on the external stuff like the website, the table, the logo, when we aren't always thinking about the internal stuff that we really need and what actually matters when starting a Reiki business. Now, are these the only things that matter? No, these three things definitely matter. There are plenty of things that matter, but indeed they are three things that we may not realize that actually really do matter when we are starting a Reiki business. Number one thing that actually matters when starting a Reiki business is a willingness to take action. It's a willingness to take action. Starting and growing a Reiki business is not easy. It can feel overwhelming. We have lots of questions and there's lots of uncertainty. Because of that, we can be paralyzed, wondering what to do next. We can be held back from starting because we feel like we don't have all of the things. And we tell ourselves, oh, before I can start my Reiki business, I need X. Before I can start my Reiki business, I need Y. Before I can get started, I need to figure out Z. But so many of the things that hold us back from starting are often things that we have been told that we need. For instance, we may have heard some coach or guru tell us, before you start your Reiki business, you need to know your niche. By the way, I have a podcast episode on that. I can drop that down below for you so you can tune in. But you may have heard, oh, I can't start my Reiki business until I know my niche. Or maybe you heard another guru or coach, maybe the same one, tell you, you can't start your Reiki business until you have your offers figured out, until you know your pricing, until you have the perfect program created. Or maybe you yourself are feeling, I can't start my Reiki business because I don't feel confident yet. I need to feel confident first before I can get started. And when we bring these thoughts to the beginning of our Reiki business, it keeps us stuck. We get stuck in the thinking. We get stuck in the information overload and overwhelm. We worry that we can't start marketing our business because we don't yet have our logo created, and we can't create our business cards until we have our logo, and we certainly can't create our website until we have our logo. But wait, first, before I create my logo, I have to have my business name. And so then we get stuck and we delay getting out there and helping people. We delay taking action. And so, one of the things that really matters in starting a Reiki business is a bias toward action, a willingness to take action. Being able to say, I don't know everything, but I'm going to do something. I don't have clarity on X, Y, or Z yet, but I'm going to move forward. Clarity comes from doing. We often think that clarity comes from sitting down and thinking, but clarity actually comes from doing. So things like getting clarity on our niche, for instance, is something that comes from the experience of working with people, the experience of having clients, the experience of offering sessions in which we can learn and take in information and reflect on that. We learn by doing. We learn by taking action. And when we take action, we get information that informs the next action for us to take. Now, we're never going to take perfect actions in our Reiki business. We just have to be willing to take them. Because when we take actions in our Reiki business, whether it's the first action or it's the 5,000th action, we're doing it imperfectly. We're doing it without knowing everything. Of course, we can't know everything. If we knew everything, then our name would start with a big G, right? And I don't know about you, but I don't know everything. And so when I take action, I'm always taking imperfect action, but the information I get from taking that action is going to help inform the next action that I take. And so if you too are feeling stuck in information overwhelm, information overload, you're feeling uncertain, you're worried that you can't start until you know X, Y, or Z, or have it all figured out, or have clarity, I want to encourage you to right now take a small action. A small action. It doesn't have to be a big one. Take an action. Be willing to take action in your Reiki business. That's what actually really matters. Number two thing that actually really matters when starting a Reiki business is a willingness to be seen. It's a willingness for us to put ourselves out there, to hang up our shingle, to talk about Reiki, to talk about ourselves, to talk about our Reiki business and how Reiki can help people. It's a willingness to be known as a Reiki practitioner. It's a willingness to be visible. Now, this might surprise you, but I'm a private person. I have historically in my life been a quiet, private person. I don't like to talk about myself, don't like to draw attention to myself, and do not like to be the center of attention. I prefer to blend in. This might surprise you. But it is how I have navigated the vast majority of my life. And the truth is that being seen was really challenging for me. It was challenging for me to put myself out there as a Reiki practitioner, challenging to talk about Reiki, challenging to go on social media, challenging to create videos and do lives, challenging to start a podcast. But in order to help people with Reiki, in order to even just start my Reiki business in the first place, I had to be willing to be visible. I had to be willing to be seen. This is a challenge for many of us. Now, I've never identified as an introvert. I've identified more like in the middle between introvert and extrovert. I can be extroverted when necessary, but I really like quiet alone time. But those of us who are Reiki practitioners often do identify as introverts or highly sensitive people or someone who just simply prefers to be quiet and hang out in the background and observe rather than interact. And yet, this can hold us back on our Reiki business journey. It can keep us from just getting started. That fear of judgment, that fear of saying something wrong, that fear of rejection, that fear of what people might say or think. That holds us back. And breaking through that, or I should say, working through that, is something that we really actually need to start and grow our Reiki business. I talk about the importance of talking about Reiki in my book, Reiki Business Ready, 6 Ways to Know You're Ready for a Reiki Business. But it's not just about talking about Reiki. A willingness to be seen is about talking about our services, talking about our Reiki journey, posting, sharing, talking to people, networking. But visibility is part of being a Reiki business owner. Now, it doesn't mean that we need to go dance on TikTok. It doesn't mean that we need to share all of our private details. It doesn't mean that we even have to be visible to everyone all of the time. It just simply means that a willingness to be visible, to put ourselves out there, to network, connect, talk to people, talk about Reiki, is an important factor in getting started and, for sure, growing a Reiki business. Now, if you already have a Reiki business and you are challenged with growth right now, I want to encourage you to ask yourself, are you being visible? Are you being seen? Because so often this is a challenge that holds us back in the growth of our Reiki business. It's hard to grow when we're hiding. And I know for me, I have to continually push myself to come out of hiding. Yes, indeed, me too. So if you too, I get it. And just like we need a willingness to take action, becoming confident about being visible or even a little more comfortable with being visible, maybe we're never completely confident with it, but becoming more comfortable with being visible takes action. It takes doing the thing and being willing to do the thing to get more comfortable with it. So, number 2 thing that actually matters when starting a Reiki business is a willingness to be seen. Now, I will pause here and say that these 3 things are ongoing on our Reiki business journey, and so they are not once and done. It's not the kind of thing where we take action once and we don't need to do it again. We are seen once and we're done. Kind of like how we decide on our brand colors or create our business cards and it's done. No, indeed, we need to do these three things over and over and over again. And so they do actually really matter, not only when we're starting a Reiki business, but on the whole of our Reiki business journey as well. So we cannot stop willing to take action or be willing to be seen. And number three, we cannot stop being willing to get support. Number three, a willingness to get support. Now, if this is you, you're not alone. Are you Googling everything? Googling how to start a Reiki business? Googling how to get clients? Trying to figure out everything alone? Looking at other Reiki practitioners or their websites and comparing yourselves to them? Are you staying in your own Reiki bubble? If so, you are not alone. So many practitioners start their Reiki business all alone. I know I did. But when we start and grow our Reiki business without the support of our Reiki friends, others who have started the journey and understand what it's like with the unique joys and challenges of starting and growing a Reiki business, it slows us down. It actually slows us down when we start and grow our Reiki business alone. We can't see our own biases. We don't get new perspectives. We don't learn different approaches. We don't have the creative insights that come from conversations with like-minded friends. We don't give ourselves the opportunity to expand our ideas of what's possible, and we don't give ourselves access to the learning, the knowledge, the wisdom that others who have started and grown Reiki businesses can offer us. And when we experience challenges with no one to reach out to, no one to connect with, no one to support us, we think there must be something wrong with me. I must be doing something wrong. I'm just not meant to be a Reiki business owner. And that kind of belief stops us. It holds us back. It keeps us from following our Reiki business dreams and, importantly, from helping others. You are meant to help others with Reiki. There are people out there who need Reiki, and we need to bring it to them. And when we stop from taking action, being visible, or getting support, we're keeping Reiki from the people who need it. We're keeping the system of Reiki from a world that desperately needs it. Now, these three things that actually matter are a willingness to do them, a willingness to take action, a willingness to be seen, a willingness to get support. Because the truth is, we're not always going to feel like taking action. We're not always going to feel like being seen. And we're not always going to feel like getting support. Now, number three, a willingness to get support can be really challenging for a lot of Reiki practitioners. We might not want to bother other practitioners with our questions. We might not want to feel like a burden by asking for support. We might worry about things like competition, or we might just be afraid to be seen as having challenges in our Reiki business. We might be afraid to reach out for support because we're worried that there's something wrong with us when we have challenges on the Reiki business journey. But support isn't just about getting help. It's about giving help too. It's also about celebrating the joys of starting and growing a Reiki business. And that's exactly what we're doing at the live online Reiki Business Summit this April 18th and 19th. Because at the summit, we are giving and getting support from one another for the Reiki business journey. It's an impactful, transformative weekend full of live Reiki business discussions with expert leaders like Mary Raposo and Carrie Varela talking about attracting clients, Pam Allen LeBlanc and Tracy Seawright showing you how to network, how to be visible, how to be seen. Karen Kaag and I are giving you strategies for starting and growing a distance Reiki business. And Ricky Friedman and Kathleen Johnson are offering their support for starting your Reiki business. So there is so much support with the strategies and the tips from these Reiki leaders who have started and grown their own thriving Reiki businesses. And it's also an opportunity to connect with your Reiki friends. The Reiki Business Summit is not just a boring webinar. It's a live, interactive, dynamic event in which you will have plenty of opportunities for small group discussions with other attendees, your Reiki friends who are also starting and growing a Reiki business. It's an incredible way to get support on the Reiki business journey. But here's the catch. The Reiki Business Summit only happens once a year. It's happening this April 18th and 19th, and it won't happen again until March 2027. You can learn more, see the full schedule, read all of the speaker bios, and save your seat at ReikiBusinessSummit.com. ReikiBusinessSummit.com. So, what do you think actually matters when starting a Reiki business? How do you feel about these three things? Are you challenged with them as well? Don't worry, we all are. Remember, we only have to have a willingness to take action, a willingness to be seen, and a willingness to get support. And getting support indeed can and will help us with taking action and those fears around being seen. So as always, I'm sending so many blessings and best wishes for your Reiki business and for what actually matters. Thanks for tuning in to the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, and send to a friend. Learn more about the Build Your Reiki Business program at standingstoneshealing.com/build. Sending blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business.